They have the luxury with how they've started the season, new president, new coach, young roster. They do not have to act desperate. They should not act desperate. They cannot act desperate. They have to act from, how often can you say this about the Knicks in years past, but you could say it now. They can act from a position of strength, not necessarily strength in terms of assets. They have some good ones, not great ones, good ones, but they can act, and they should act from a position of strength. And it needs to be a deal that will blow them away for them to make it. I'm just saying, keep your ears open for if someone is going to call you with that deal. And I think Julius Randle is playing well enough that someone can call you and just absolutely blow you away with something that is almost unfathomably crazy.
Yeah.
Don't know what that's going to be.
Always
listen.
Take
That's
the
it.
call. I agree.
Just listen. And I say this as someone who right now sitting here today, I'd probably pay that dude a max contract.
Julius Randle?
Yeah, I probably would. I think he's been that good. I think he's earned something close to it.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have that conversation another time because
we will have that conversation.
I'm on a different wavelength. I think he's worth it. I think he's worth a lot of money. I can't commit to a max, but we'll go more.
I don't know what a max actually. I probably should. Max is starts at 33, 34.
Yeah, but again, I mean, let's talk about it later. It's a fun podcast.
This is going to be an ongoing conversation because what do you think this guy's going to get if he keeps this up?
Should I say it now or should I wait for another time?
We'll save it for another time.
All
okay.
Right.
Jeremy, anything
say now?
for you?
All right. You're saying say now. All right. Again, I think if you're looking close to like $26 million, because again, and I'll do this for the next pod. Look at the teams that are out there. Look at what's going to be available, even if it's a year ahead.
Yeah, exactly. Which is why someone's going to give him more than that.
Again, what team is going to do that, John?
Look at what's going to be out. You just said it. 2022. What's going to be out there on the free agent market?
Right.
Nothing.
But look at the teams' payrolls that are already subject to happen. Look at who they have to pay.
Come on, teams could move money if they.
Sure, I know. That's why I'm saying a year and a half from now,
he wants to go somewhere.
I get that, but I'm saying look at how salaries are shaping up, and look at the teams that are projected to have the max cap space that you're saying he's worth. How many of them are really out there?
I'm just if he keeps this up, then it's a different conversation because then if you don't think he's worth one team making him this caliber of offer, then you should absolutely trade him before this deadline.
Then why not? It's not necessarily that. It's why are you letting yourself why are you committing to a max contract for a player when you can have him test the market? Why would you let him? Why would you lock him into the ceiling deal that you have when you can test the market? And what's the worst case scenario?
I'm just saying you're going to wind up.
That?
I'm just saying you're going to wind up paying him that much.
You're not going to pay him a max contract.
So, which is your way of saying you don't think any team's going to offer him a max.
No, I don't. I don't think a team's going to offer him a max. Then
I imagined this offseason when the Charlotte Hornets paid Gordon Hayward $30 million a year.
It's a little different.
Is it?
Yes.
How?
Gordon Hayward helped the Jazz at this point get further than they were in a worse conference.
He hadn't been on the Jazz in 4 years, 3 years, whatever it was.
And then the Celtics gave him the bag. But here's the other thing, John. There was a bidding war. There was a bidding war against him. And then the Knicks walked.
And you don't think there's going to be a bidding war for Julius Randle?
What teams are getting into the bidding war that are expected to have cap space?
Oh, my God. It's a year and a half away. You don't think
teams can see what teams have cap space on the books or will have their payrolls. I understand that.
And what I'm telling you is Charlotte Hornets were not one of those teams that had cap space this summer. They had to waive and stretch Nick Batum in a move that was ridiculous.
Of course you can create cap space, but the Hornets also went after Hayward before. Where is he going to go that a team has wanted him before? And he was like, no, I don't want to go there right now. Because here's the thing. He signed an offer sheet to go to Charlotte.
Yes, I understand that. If you don't think that there is a team out there that would move stuff to be able to
Julius Randle.
Okay, forget.
I'm not saying he's not worth a lot of money. As I said, I think he's worth 25, 26. You could even, go a little bit higher if you really wanted to.
And some team out there,
point, it's not going to be the max. That's all.
And some team out there will say, all right, we have his value at $26.5 million. We can get him for 33.5. Well, I don't know. It's going to be paying him $7 million a year more than he's worth. You don't think some team would do that? Come on.
I'm saying if
Steve
you look
Mills
ahead,
paid fucking Tim Hardaway Jr. 3 times more than he was worth to get him in the building. I know Steve Mills doesn't have a job anymore.
A little different.
But the point
how many people are dumb enough to do that in this league? I don't think. Yes, it only takes one. But again, like
it only takes one. That's my point.
But what of those teams is going to want to create all this cap space for Julius Randle? And again, if Julius Randle commands a max contract, all you have to do is match that. Just say, all right, you got that offer. We'll pay you that. That's
the only thing I'm saying. I think you will have to match
don't commit
it.
To
I think
it.
someone's going to offer it to him, because if he's doing this, if he's hitting 40% of his threes a year from now with the rest of these peripheral numbers and putting up buckets like he is, some team's going to offer it to him. You're going to have to match it, which is, again, I'm just saying, I think he's worth it. That's my point. I think he's worth the money. I think he's been that good.
He's been great, but again, you don't necessarily have to commit to him right now.
You don't necessarily have to.
If you feel like he's going to get, some huge contract, and if you want to keep him, and if you want to extend him, then you can do that, right? If you really wanted to, if you absolutely wanted to let him not hit the market. I mean, again, the worst thing to do is non-guarantee his contract, then re-sign him because he has a partial guarantee. So you're still committing to like $4 million in dead salary on top of what you would pay him. That would be dumb. But if you want to extend him while he's there because everyone's happy, things are going well, that's great. We think we can lock into him and we can just avoid having the market whatsoever. I get it. That makes sense too. I just don't see him getting a max contract.
I think that if they have the opportunity, if they don't trade him at this deadline, which I agree with you, I don't think they will do, I think they should absolutely extend him, because again, if unless it's for the maximum amount that they could extend it for, because then it doesn't make any sense. At that point, I agree with you. Let him go into unrestricted free agency, find that team who's going to give him the max, and then you just figure it out then. But if he's willing to extend this summer for something like 3 years and $90 million, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
In a heartbeat.
To commit to paying Julius Randle $110 million over the next 4 seasons, of course I'm doing that. For his age 27, 28.
Including that last time.
What?
No. I see what you're saying. Yes, I didn't.
You're paying for his age 27 through 30 seasons, and you're paying him an average of $27.5 million a year in a league where you don't need me to go through the names of guys who are making close to that much money. Kevin Love's making more than that much. Andre Drummond makes more than that much. But
then you could say, is that a smart business decision if those are the guys that are making that much money?
Based on how he's played? Yeah, I think it's a bit of a risk if you're Randle, because if you're Randle, you're locking it. I think if you're Randle, you're locking in the money now as opposed to testing the market and potentially getting more money and an additional year from another team on the open market, or maybe getting a 5-year max from the Knicks a year from now. So I think you're sacrificing a little bit. I think they'd probably ask him to take a little bit more off the top, maybe, $95 million or sorry, not 95, $85 million. But somewhere in that 85 to 90 range. Like you're not going to extend him for less than that. There's zero chance that he's taking less than that.
But isn't that like $27 million? Which is what I said.
He is a player that is playing like a $27 million a year player right now.
Oh, all right. But now we're moving the goalposts, right? Because I said just not a max. I said like 25, 26, maybe 27.
Okay, Isola, you're moving the goalposts.
I'm just saying those are the words that I said. If you want to use them against me, make them accurate. That's all. That's it. I'm not saying he's not worth paying more for.
I hope they're having these very conversations in their front office fucking tonight. I really do. That's what I hope. That's all I hope. That's all I want as a Knicks fan. All right. I think I started 10 minutes ago. I was like, anything else from you, Jeremy? And now I got this. So I won't ask that anymore. So you don't get to say
now you got this. You got a good conversation, a spirited conversation on Julius Randle before you overpay him, as any team, gets the opportunity because of what if, right? Because of what if.
Andrew, you happy you joined for this episode?
It is very much my fault that you guys kept going, because you guys were like, oh, we'll just tease it for next time. And I'm like, no, don't do that to your listeners. No. It's just very mean to do that.
This is your fault.
I know we're wrapping up. Can I just ask Jeremy one question?
Sure.
Would you pay Julius Randle's, like going into this offseason, say he was a free agent, would you have offered the same contract that Gordon Hayward got?
Of 4 years and $30 million or 30 per year?
Yeah, like 4 for 120.
4 for 120.
Now, granted, we're basing this off of what he did last year. Say what he's doing this year was last season, and he entered free agency off of this season.
I mean, wasn't the whole issue with Gordon Hayward about the money, not the years? That he went too far in terms of the years?
Right. So that's why I'm asking you personally, not the Knicks. Do you think he would have been worth 4 years, 120?
No, I don't.
Okay. So it's literally like $3 million a year is the bar.
I think that's fair because there were a lot of I felt like the limit for Van Vliet was always 4 for 100. I felt like that was the consensus. Like anything above that, it's getting a little silly. And I think for as much as Randle is playing at a level right now that is a hair above where Van Vliet is playing right now, even though I think Van Vliet's been very good this year. The position that they play maybe makes a little bit of a difference. Although even that sentiment, I think maybe undersells Julius Randle's ceiling, undersells his effectiveness, undersells a lot of things about him. So, it's a conversation.
Sure, but I think
it's a conversation. That's all.
We started free agency where you tweeted how would Knicks fans feel about 3 years, $70 million for Gordon Hayward, right?
Yes.
That was the starting point. That's operating. And we went from 370 to 120, which means that in the span of about 24 hours, less than that, from when you initially reported that to what came out later and what subsequently was the deal, it went up that much. I think, yes, that is an example of how extreme it can get. But if you're already starting all the way up there, then you've lost your leverage. You've lost your negotiating powers. If you start lower, you can always work your way up. And it's like, well, it's like arbitration in baseball. You find a point in the middle that works out for you, but you start low. You don't start at the point you expect to compromise in, because then that's only going to push up the player's salary even more. So you have to start lower. You meet in the middle, or you get to at some point that is agreeable on both sides, and you work on it.
I just think it is. Again, this will be a conversation we'll have at some point later, but we need to start being honest about, and we'll do what you wanted to do tonight. We'll go and look at the teams who have cap space in 2022, and we'll look and see what they have on their roster and the whole thing. That's an episode. Great. We'll do it. But we need to start talking about and being honest about what this guy's going to get paid at whether it's this season by the Knicks or the following offseason, whatever it is. Because this guy, I mean, he's been that good.